Shabbat Shalom. This week's parasha is Parshat Korach. Korach was one of the most difficult stories in the life of Moses. Korach was the cousin of Moses who leads a rebellion against his authority. He gathers a mob to rally against Moses, and all those who had complaints against him arose. There was Korach, who wanted to be the high priest. There was Dathan and Aviram, who had always despised the fact that Moses had taken us out of Egypt. And then there was the Bnei Ruvain, the sons of Ruvain, who was the firstborn of Israel, and as such should have been the high priest, or the priestly sect. This was lost to them and handed to the tribe of Levi. They all gathered together and rebelled against Moses. The events of the story are one of the most exciting and tragic in the Torah. But how did Korach convince the people to follow him? The Torah tells us a fantastic story, a fantastic juxtaposition. At the end of last week, we read about the mitzvah of tzitzit. And as I mentioned last week, the purpose of the tzitzit string, one of the strings was techelet, was blue. And the purpose of the blue was to remind us of the sea reminding us of the sky, and the sky to remind us of Hashem. And that's by meditating on that tzitzit string, it will remind us of God and would have a spiritual moment. Korach dresses everyone in turquoise and presents them before Moshe Rabbeinu and says to Moses, Beged shekulo techelet, a garment that is completely blue and has 4 corners. Does it require tzitzit strings? Moses says in the Midrash, yes it does. Korach and his followers start laughing and they say, this is ridiculous. We know that the purpose of the turquoise string is to remind you of God. Surely, a beged shekulo techelet, a garment that is completely turquoise and blue, should do the job far more efficiently, far more better, and far more emotionally connecting me to God than that little string. Moses says to Korach, you've got it wrong. You see, Judaism is not about the emotions. It's about the mitzvah, the tzivui. You see, Korach, there's a danger to your approach. If your approach is to add to the experience and the whole side of the emotional side of Judaism, well, what happens when you're not motivated? When you're tired after a late night? Will you get up at 6:30 for shul? Will you daven mincha in the middle? Will you stop doing what you do in the middle of the day to daven mincha because that's what you have to do? If your whole basis of your Judaism is going to be emotional, you will fail. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Korach, we have a concept called mitzvah. Mitzvah means command. I have to do this because God himself has told me this is what I need to do. And if God says to me, 4-corner garments, string, one of them techelet, that's what has to happen. Even if the whole garment is kulo techelet. So how do you find the emotion? Well, it is all locked into that word mitzvah. If I look at the word mitzvah, it is made up of 4 letters, mem, tzadi, vav, hey. In the middle of the word is the word tzav. Tzav means command. It means something that I have to do. On the outside, I have another word, mem and hey. Together forms the word ma, what, how, why, lama. Ma, tzav, what is this commandment? When I'm allowed to ask the question, how does this mitzvah work? What meaning does it have for me? How can I connect to this mitzvah in a deeper way so that I can express my connection or have a connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to God? But in the center of it is the word tzav, the command. That always has to be central. Why? What is it like to get up in the morning and to go daven when I'm tired? It's a tzav, it's a tzivui, it's a command. What do I get out of davening? I get the connection to meeting my friends, my congregants. I get connected to God. I have time to reflect. These are all parts of the ma. But if that particular morning I'm not in the mood, it doesn't matter. In the center is always the tzav. And Korach didn't understand this. He thought that the purpose of Judaism is purely emotional. It's connecting to God on an emotional level. And Judaism says emotions can be dangerous, can confuse you and deceive you. Ultimately, Korach and his rebellion will fail. Moshe v'Torato emet. Moses and his Torah are true. When it comes to our Judaism, there is space to ask questions, to find the emotions, to connect on to sing and to dance and to have that beautiful food and to have the taste of Shabbat and the taste of Judaism. But in the middle is always going to be a tzav, the command. Shabbat Shalom.